Why did they make it so difficult?
Can you not see it?
That's better now.
There must be some way out of this.
It's better now.
It's much better now.
It's better now.
It's much better now.
Yeah.
I don't know why you thought you would keep on. Now that everybody knows, from your head down to your toes, you really did wrong to lock me up in the asylum. You knew I'd get out one day. Yeah. You knew I was coming after you. You knew one day I'd settle the score. I don't know why it's so quiet here, but yeah, you done me. Solitary confinement is not meant for me. The Thorazine and all the medication made me into a zombie. I don't know if I'll ever get over it. I use my psychic power to track you down, and I tracked you down. I tracked you down. You seem to think that I won't ever come back, but now I'm. That was me you waved to on Sunset. I saw you there. Some old BMW. Then light it with you, going and check on your mom's house. Don't think that I forgot for 1 minute how you delivered me up to Satan. And I did object, because I'm not just like you. I have a point of view. You have no right over my soul. You have no right. I know you're mind controlled and your soul is gone. I know you're just a servant of darkness. I don't know why asylum. You knew I'd get out one day. You knew I was coming after you. You knew one day I'd settle the score.
Greetings in the name of the Most High. Well, part 2 of that, of course, from the last pod goes to, the acknowledgement of that the world as you see, as you see, is created, because when we create, there's a creator, us, and then when it's created, we recognize the difference between created and chaos. And so we understand that. Now, understanding that, along with the idea of be fruitful and multiply, and the rest of all that went with that, about the top seed and the how the seed and the egg are seeking the top survivability, really. But then you also have the ingredient that makes it whole, because, and this is going to be controversial, but in general, men and women can't get along together. It's kind of like the cats and dogs. But when you add the creator, acknowledgement of, worship of, dedication to, and being a part of, realizing that you're created and that you have your maker. And even though you may be disappointed in the results, or disappointed in the pain of life, the suffering of life, and so forth, it doesn't get rid of the fact that there is that creator, and that's therefore superior to us and worthy of worship, worthy of acknowledgement, worthy of devotion, worthy of being led, worthy of praise, worthy of a life. And when we do our own thing, of course, it's never going to be led or that wise. Just like I said, men and women can't get along together, because when there is no mediator, because to me it's like this triangle where you have like God, then say man, woman, and it connects. And I hate to put New Age symbol of the triangle up, but I mean it connects and makes a whole. And then with that whole, then you realize, well, that marriage wasn't really my idea. God led that. That thing we were doing together wasn't really my idea or her idea or whatever, but whatever it is, we were led and we went, and it becomes more of a harmonious time rather than a contentious time. And so I've seen it, because, we were talking about the empty nest syndrome, and okay, you raise your children, they're gone. And then it's like, well, then what do you do? Well, you still have that connection. You still have that form of Godhead, male, female, as one. And so in that capacity, you're being led to go forward with whatever it is. It might be, well, think about all the needs there are in the world that would help children get to the next generation, whether it be any industry, any kind of medical help, any kind of food, any kind of, there's a million things that are needed to sustain and to further the generations until God's done with it, until God pulls the plug. It's not up to me. And I think the mistake that the powers that be are making is that right now they're deciding to go nuclear and scorched earth. And I don't want to scare you. I don't want to spend time scaring anyone, because that's, they're going over it like we're going over how are we going to stop them, And I think one of the main things about the Trump administration, about bringing these guys all together, Elon Musk and Trump and, Joe Rogan and Alex Jones, and, various voices that all hated each other at one time or were separate, coming together for a common goal. And that is to basically save the world at this point. It's got nothing. It's well beyond the shores of the United States. It's turning off this then the nuclear weapons should not, I'm going to segue here. Nuclear weapons, in my view, should not be in the hands of petulant children. For example, if you're just like a madman being led by your own mad desires, you may decide, well, that's it. If I can't have it, I'm going to make sure they don't get it. So I'm going to nuke everybody. Après moi, le déluge, right? The madman theory. After me, the flood. So I'm broadcasting you from, I guess, from the heart of the city of Rome. And we're right in the middle of it. Gladiator 2, right in the middle of Rome. And we have this fantastic Fanta festival to go to and participate in, which is the 44th Fanta festival. It's on my page on Facebook, all about it and the schedule and everything. And, these guys have been entrusted. I don't want to put pressure on anybody or speak out of turn, but these guys have been trusted to guide this festival along from 1981 to today. It's the 44th in a row year of it. And when I look back at cinema, cinema, that's a serious word. I'm segueing. I've said what I have to say about God. It's really, okay, let me back up before I go forward. Thank you for indulging me. I've just had this espresso in the room, and boy, I tell you, I don't know what kind of machine this thing is or what. You push a button and it gives you this amazing espresso. I'm in a little tiny room, but see, there's like a terrace door behind me that goes out to a terrace that overlooks the Tiber River, and it's we're right at the very top of Rome, the main city of Rome, the center of the city, which contains, the things like the Vatican and the Spanish Steps and the Colosseum is more to the south. But I mean, all these things are in the city, and so I suppose I'm not too far from where the event is going to happen. But what I said about man, woman, and God. So a lot of people that I know, or people lately, are not bickering with their spouses because you see, now that we have the nuclear threat on the table, and you'd be not a fool, but you'd be rather blind if you don't see that there's a problem with the deep state not wanting to give up power and willing to go scorched earth to prevent us from having it or whatever. And when I say us, I mean I'm just the people, right? We the people, just people, humans who pay taxes and who are trying to participate in a system that's highly unfair. And the idea is to make it more fair, to do what we can to make it better, if possible. I have no role in it, but I mean, I recognize when something is, they give you something, the government, and then they slowly take it away piece by piece until it's gone. So what I'm saying about, the seed and the top seed, and then it's the obligation to take care of the generations to follow. Even after you've done your thing, you were successful, then your children have grown up and they're having children. And then so you can pat yourself on the back. You've done your purpose. You've pleased God, in that. You've taken your mandate and you've followed it. So now it's just really more of the same. It's, are we good stewards of our society? Are we going to make sure that children live to see another generation? Are we going to make our laws more fair and less inclined toward elites and privilege? Privileged elites, privileged people that seem to be getting away with everything? Or are we just going to relax and get lazy and let things go down the tubes? So then the good steward becomes the parent, if you will, of the society that God wants to implement. Just like I'm a steward of the creation, whatever it is, that God wants me to implement. I saw something today, and I'm going to weave a little ramble a little bit, where people constantly put up warnings about horror movies being bad for Christians. Nothing can be further from the truth. Horror movies are not only good for Christians, they're good for all people because it provides a way to get at some of the horrors and traumas of our society because otherwise people are not going to speak about them. So in the mode of horror, and even in comedy to a certain extent, we're able to get at things that really have hurt us and that we need to deal with. And the boogeyman in the woods, um, well, I'll tell you, playing around with a Ouija board and conjuring an army of demons that want to destroy your family and take over the world. Doing an experiment, creating a Frankenstein, only to have the great irony that man is not the creator. You see, that's why Frankenstein has such depth, such truth, and is good for people. So a lot of these Christians do a big disservice by saying stay away from that, just because, yes, there may be witches that love horror movies and they run around with upside down pentagrams and warlocks and wizards and people of faith and people of no faith. But regardless, the message is getting through. The great irony that, with all that there is in society and how good Americans have it, here are the horrors that exist just beneath the surface, and they become cautionary tales. And so I find that there's other things like, well, what made that person a serial killer? Oh, they were abused as children. You see, you Christians who are trying to stop, why would you want to stop people from reading books or looking at horror movies or whatever? Why can't they look at whatever they want to look at? See, this is what I don't understand. This is why we left the church. This is why we have no church. We are the church. We're the stewards of, you're not the steward of the world. You've got your sequestered little bunch of half-wits that you control. And that's not pleasing to God. God wants us each to blossom in our own way, in the unique way that he made us. Well, and the world offers a counterfeit of that. That's right. It's like a mirror, but one's real, one's not. And, horror movies teach us the difference between the two. Not every horror movie, but the great ones are social ironies, social satires. And why is satire good? Because we get to criticize the unjust, the unfair, the stupid, the whatever, and get away with it and bring it to consciousness. What could be better than that? I'll never understand. That's why I can't stand the Franklin Grahams and the evangelicals and the rest of them, because they have a problem. I don't have the problem they have. They have a disease called, on behalf of the Lord, I'm going to judge them. They're basically one step away from being the Inquisition. And I've been at the brunt of all their attacks, and they used to call me all kinds of names, and that I couldn't possibly be a believer in Jesus, and I had to be a CIA agent or something like that. I mean, they've proven themselves unworthy of God completely, or unworthy of friendship, unworthy of humans, unworthy and stupid. And it was so funny, as we had pastors that were basically behind the scenes gay, kind of, like she was a les and he was, like men, or I think he liked boys. And they'd sit there every week talking about the evils of homosexuality, of same-sex sex and marriage, and talk about how evil it was and how if you're involved in that sin's greater than any other sin and you're going to go to hell while they're doing it. I mean, just, oh boy, it's been a ride, but it's all a test. Anyway, we're here at this lovely place, and I've Still feeling like right now some jet lag from flying over here to participate in the festival, but it's I guess I'll be busy with that from tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, I think. And then at the end of the week, we were, back to the States. But anyway, it's really, I could stay here for weeks and weeks and weeks just mapping out the city. And I already found a place I could take my laptop and write. And, it's really a lot of energy, a lot of young people, about, and I love that energy of them and how they're buzzing around. This is like kind of like the arts district area. But anyway, it's I don't really know which battle to fight. I don't feel like fighting the Christian battle because I feel people are sick of it. But at the same time, if there is going to be a church, it really needs some kind of watchdog, somebody that can understand. And also, a lot of the church is uneducated. I mean, they don't know about what the English language is. They don't know what literature is. They say they know the Bible, and that just means that they can regurgitate it. But they don't know the things I know. For example, about art and poetry and literature and movies and music and different things. But that's because they keep themselves sequestered in a small thing. And then there are people that are raised up, I guess these would be the liberals, which vilify them. So they never have a chance to either be educated or whether they go, you went to a Marilyn Manson concert, you need to live. It used to be, you listen to one of Zeph's songs. This was back, I don't know, 10 years ago. Then you need deliverance. So there's been that too, that if you talk to me, you need deliverance, from a deliverance preacher that will get you back on the straight and narrow. And what am I advocating? I only advocate God and more God. I only advocate just the pure relationship. And a lot of friends I have that are not really affiliated with churches, they say, I've never prayed more in my life until recently with the world, quickly going to World War III, and a lot of people praying, and that's what's happening. I'm saying, please keep praying, because we're in code red right now, like 10 seconds to midnight. I mean, it's never been more dangerous. So please keep praying. You guys are holding up the ship, while the ones going around criticizing people that watch horror movies they need to be rescued. Well, they don't want to be, but I mean, they need help. They need to open their eyes and realize when somebody creates a masterpiece of art, he's honoring God. You know what I mean? He's honoring God. And when he does something that he's very, or she, well pleased with, and finally shares with the public, they're honoring God with the creation. Whenever you create, you're honoring God. We do so to the best of our ability. To slap Junior down and say, you're no good. You stop doing that stuff. You quit playing that satanic music. You stop painting those weird. We went to a festival in Arizona. I recommend going to these festivals if I were you, if you like, and I've got something to say about Italian cinema coming out. I've just forgotten my education on it, but there was a golden age of Italian cinema in the 60s. But this gal, that one of the gals that was she was managing the festival, and she'd put up a painting that said things like, that was abstract. It's not like something I would do, lots of words on it, and wanted everyone to sign it. And basically, when you share your creation, your cinema creation, you're healing people. Brava, to her, because that's right. And we all signed it. And then I heard people were criticizing it for being satanic in its approach. And if she weren't strong enough, she might have taken that personally and just quit, never done it again. So this is I now know this is something I got to bring up in my class, and I'm going to teach this idea of other people demoralizing you and how we should treat other people while we're creating, because everybody has something negative to say, everybody. And so that's something you battle. But the Italians had a golden age of cinema back in the days of Fellini, and even to a certain extent the during the 80s as well, but it was kind of petering out by then. But it was the 60s and the 70s to a certain extent with Visconti and Fellini and others, and then it goes back, before that as well. And they had a unique approach, which always not baffled me, but always interested me, which was the dubbing approach. In other words, of being a sound guy myself, I'm very interested in how you would do the movie and then dub whatever language. Like some would be English, some would be Italian, some would be different languages, some would be French, and to dub that in at the end rather than the beginning. So what we try to do as directors is get the scene right. We've got to listen very carefully to the delivery of the dialogue. We have to look very carefully at the monitor for the playback to see, is that believable? Is that real? Right? Of that performance. So in Italian cinema, it was really, well, as long as the action was real, because we're going to actually do the delivery later. And I found that to be a very interesting concept. And plus, you've heard of all the different movies and probably know about, Clint Eastwood and spaghetti westerns and different things. And for me, we're going to talk about Dario Argento, who is a big part of this festival that's coming up. A premier horror director, one of the visionaries out of Italy. And for good reason. And, the film I'm going to talk about is called Suspiria. A real simple story, but there's just something about the way that, he goes about creating his really a masterpiece that just makes it different. It's the atmospherics on it are amazing. It's just like the atmospherics of this room. It's like there's stuff on the ceiling. You got these ornate ceilings that's different, statues of various emperors and Napoleon and different people and Caesar and whatnot. And I find it to be very inspiring. So in creation of works, there is a term called irony. And people ask me, well, I just optioned a script and we're going to go into, I guess we're on the verge of shooting it. We still have to cast it, but it's in pre-production. And, it was not the most perfect script, but I mean, I'm also a purchaser. I read and I being my capacity as a producer and one of the partners in Crazed House, we all read and we're looking for material, and so this one really popped out at us, and I've been analyzing it. This guy was I've talked about this before. This guy's a Spanish writer from Barcelona. English is a second language. Loves American cinema, I guess. And he wrote, it's a concept that has to do with online, getting likes and followers. And there was so much, and I can tell you, well, why would you pick that if you had English as a second language? There was no third act. There were some mistakes here and there. It wasn't perfectly polished. It was, not really completely finished. Why this one and not the one that's perfect? And the answer is because this had the juice. This had the stuff. What stuff? I can't tell you. If I could tell you, I could go make $1 billion tomorrow. If I knew what would make, how you get the stuff onto the page. But it had it. So when I say stuff, I mean a very dramatic irony about our society and about, the internet and about people and about people's dark side. And, it's a commentary, but it had a lot of depth, a lot of social criticism without being overtly socially criticizing, without you even being able to detect it. And by about page 10, I was all in. That's all it took for me to leap. And then everybody else, of course, then we read the rest of it, and then we've gone through rewrites and we've done all this stuff with it. But it's just it's an example of a horror movie that has a lot more to say than just horror. It has a lot to say about how lost we are as a world, how lost we are as a society, and why, without being preachy at all. With being another story you're looking at, you're not even focused on the real message, which is, in other words, the audience, the subscribers are the world. And the perpetrator of who's got the 4 million or 5 million followers, whatever she's got, she's the shiny object that everyone's looking at and running after. And then there's competition to be the top dog. And, it begs the question, so what is this life all of? Is this it? Is this it? Get as many subscribers as you can, then you win. What do you win? You're so desperate for subscribers, you start killing people online in order to get people to subscribe. Okay, so that irony that's contained within that little formula right there is gold. You can give me a great screenplay about a mystery thriller or film noir or desperados in the desert, whatever, and it might be great too. But the thing is that this one beat all those. Why? You know what? If I can't, I'm going to struggle with this when I do my class. I can't tell you why. I just know when I see it. And I was joined by the rest of the Crazed House team, including Trish, who's really a stickler. She's really, really hard on material. It's like she's really very discerning, very, very critical. Well, you don't know that about her, but we work together on everything. We work as a team. And so how can I teach that to the kids, and the adults, whoever's in the room? I can't teach it. I could go back to this writer that I really enjoy his writing, and I could say, okay, I need another one, and he might pop out something, and might be dead on arrival. So I can't tell him what I need. He either comes up with it or he doesn't. But when it's on the page, whatever it is that it is, I guess we all go in unison. We all recognize it together. It's not like something that I recognize and then say somebody else doesn't. We all recognize it at the same moment. And so we're going to struggle with that, because that's one thing. The other thing is, most people with writing, especially, or any project, tend to give up before before it's finished. And so you're dealing with sometimes procrastination. What you're dealing with is a form of societal ritual abuse. Okay, society's ritual abuse, which is who do you think you are? You think you're going to be like so and so. You think you're going to be like, using a musical example, the Beatles or Michael Jackson. You think you're going to be some big, blah 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 blah, mucky muck. You don't know shit, and you're just fooling yourself trying to be a writer. And now you're thinking of yourself as a writer and this and that. Hey man, it's what the AC/DC songs say. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. Get in line and pay your dues. And it's like or bring your last few scenes you've written to the class. We'll read it out loud and go through it. Nothing could be worse for your town, but society will beat you down. Society will beat it out of you. Society will make the case that you're just fooling yourself, and get back to work and do something that's practical, and stop with this idea of you being a screenwriter or an actor or a diva or whatever it is you want to be. You can, it's that inspiration that goes, that keeps you saying, you look in the mirror, you go, yeah, I know you. They're all trying to stop you because you've got something special and they don't want you to bring competition. That's also part of it. So, my messages keep going, but it's also the screenplay. If that's what you're writing, it's got to be fun and powerful. It has to be powerful enough to take on its own personality and draw you in like a lover, seriously, to where you're thinking about it at night when you go to sleep, and you're the next day working, you're just constantly involved, because it's no longer an extension of you. It is no longer a reflection of you, but it's something you created that is a being in its own right, in a sense, in the sense that it's, you've created a friend, you've created an ally, you've created a vehicle, and now you must work on it and make sure it delivers, and you're the only one that needs to be pleased. You can get help and advice on the perfect. Now they have like, you can send your PDF file, you can make a PDF out of your screenplay and send it to AI, and they'll give you a critique. Folks, nothing could be more destructive. And I don't know, I haven't heard many writers going on that, well, I fed it to AI and they gave me notes, I did the notes, and then I got an Academy Award. I haven't heard that. So that's the other thing. The other thing is, most writers today want to be directors or producers or something along those lines. There is nothing wrong with being a screenwriter. There's a writers guild union you can join that's just people that write. Writing is a very, very needed skill. It's the pen is mightier than the sword. It is a very noble calling. And so when you're kind of drifting away from your screenplay or your schedule, you got 1 page last week and 2 pages this week, and you can always get back in. You got to make friends with your project. You've got to ask, well, where do you want to go with me? What are you doing with me? And trusting that God is leading the whole process to a conclusion. You wouldn't have been called unless God was calling you, just out of ego. It's too hard for just ego. So that's it for today. Just a little brief hello from Rome. I got to get over this, little jet lag thing and get my energy up for cinema. So I'm stoked about movies now. I don't have many I can watch. I've been recommended to watch Dune, the new Dune series. So maybe I'll do that. But being away, everything's in Italian. The TV's in Italian. There's nothing unless I broadcast it from my phone to the TV or whatever. Anyway, love you, praying for you, and you'll be okay. You just gotta keep returning. Don't give up. As what was it, Vince Lombardi? Quitters never win and winners never quit. See you next time.
In the high
yeah.